Hello students, hope you are doing well. Today we will continue our chapter Society, Law and Ethics. Okay, in the previous session we discussed on digital world, information technology, how we can save our data, intellectual property right. The next is plagiarism. So let us understand about plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Actually, plagiarism is a fraud. Why we are saying this is fraud? When we are copying someone else's work and then passing it off as one's own, so this is stealing. It means we are saying that work done by the other person, but we are saying that this is mine. So it is normally bad because it is an act of stealing. Or we can say in other word, it is copying information and not giving the authors credit for it. Actually जिसने work किया है उसको तो हम credit दे ही नहीं रहे हैं. So this is an act of fraud. Like copying programs written by other programmers and claiming them as your own could be an act of plagiarism. So what happened in the plagiarism involves lying, cheating, theft and dishonesty. Now, when we can say classification of plagiarism, we can classify the plagiarism in a two sense. One is accidental and the second is unintentional. When we talk about deliberately or intentional plagiarism, it means copying someone else's work, cutting and pasting block of text or any kind of media, maybe the audio file, video file, movie clipping from electronic sources without documenting and at the same time publishing it on the web without the permission of developer or creators. So what we can understand, when we talk about intentional, it means I am using some other work, maybe in a form of any file, maybe in a form of any media or in a video, and I am using complete this document without acknowledging the main owner or author and saying that this is my work. So this is known as intentional plagiarism. When we talk about accidental plagiarism, it means that my intentional was not wrong. I don't want to copy the other person's work, but unintentionally the work done by me, it is similar to the other person's. So we can say that this may be possible. I am doing the same topic, I'm using the same topic, or I'm creating the same document or same paragraph, but I don't know about the other person is also using the same contents. Now, different types of plagiarism. There are four types of plagiarism. When we talk about types of plagiarism, the four types may comes in the category direct plagiarism, self plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism or accidental plagiarism. Direct plagiarism means we are copying the same matter as it is without making any changes, and even I am not telling them, not taking any permission from the main owner or main author. That is known as direct plagiarism. Self plagiarism means the work done by me in a previous and then I am using in a new sense in a new project with the new name, but the contents are similar which are already used in a previous project. For an example, like a student of 11th class submit a project, then his next year, that is 12th class, he submitted new project, but the contents same like the previous project. So this is known as self plagiarism. When we talk about the mosaic plagiarism, for an example, when a student borrow content for his work from some source and he didn't enclose text in quotation mark that can indicate that this contents taken by the another person and not even rewrite the content, this is known as mosaic plagiarism. Accidental plagiarism, it happens when author write a phrase or group of words that match to the another author. This is called as accidental plagiarism. So for an example, class 12th students create a project and use a quotation or paragraph that match the contents in other students' projects. So this is known as accidental plagiarism. Plagiarism actually a bad habit, we can say bad practice, and we have to avoid this type of plagiarism. First, we have to use your own words and idea. If you are trying to writing some document or you want to write a blog, so try to use your own words and idea. Always provide the reference or give the credit to the source from where you have received the information. Clear? If by any chance it become necessary to use someone exact word, then use the quotation mark. Cite the name of the website or URL or the name of the author. Then you can acknowledge them कि I am using this work, this much of work from this website or from this author's book, and it means we have to acknowledge them. Take information in the form of bulleted notes in your own words rather than copying the entire contents as it is. Now one question arises कि why do students doing this plagiarism? There may be so many cases. First things, they are ignoring the academic classes or sessions. It may be the negative behavior of the student towards assignment and teachers. Maybe the group of students having the bad habits and their poor time management. They don't want to complete their work, but at the time of exam they are trying to copy the other person's work. So maybe some cases about the student, but dear students, we must avoid this plagiarism. We try to complete our work by heart. Now, digital right management. What we can understand digital right management? Actually, it is referred to any information about you or created by you that exists in a digital form, either online or an electronic storage device. It means maybe possible you have created online personal account, you have created a one website, blogs, and you can manage in a many way. Digital right management means the contents you have created designed by you. And legally a person who has created it is the legal owner of a digital property, and only the owner can use and decide who all and in what form can his or her digital asset may be used by the other person. So this is known as digital right management. It means I am providing the copyright कि this is my work and the other persons how many times use this my work. Actually, the objective of digital right management is to remove or reduce the piracy. DRM attempts to control use of digital media by preventing access, copying or conversion to other format by the end users. Actually, DRM constraints contribute significantly to data privacy and security. So what is the objective of digital right management? To provide the data privacy and security, even define कि how many times the digital contents can be copied, or if even you are purchasing the digital contents, is it possible to how many times you can copy or install. For an example, if you are purchasing a software, let's say antivirus software, okay, you have purchased, but that software having a digital right, what it writes कि you can copy in a 2 laptops, 2 system, or how many laptops. It means it is defined कि if you are purchasing only for the 2 system or you are purchasing for the 3 system. For an example, you want to purchase operating system like Windows OS you want to purchase. So you have to define कि if you want to purchase the OS for how many system, you want to purchase only for the one system or you have to purchase for the 2 system. So according your need, you have to pay it for that operating system. So digital right management define कि how we can use the digital contents. For this we have to purchase in a form of licensing or license software. Actually, a software license is a document that provides legally binding guidelines for the use of distribution of software. So we can say कि software licensing is the legal right to run the privilege given to you by a company to access their applications. Okay, and license agreement governs the use of licensed software. Actually, we can purchase software. It means कि we are purchasing the license of that software. Now, what are the advantage of using the licensed software? Whenever we purchase licensed software, it means we can use that software more effectively, and more features we can use it. You are able to contribute to the further development of the program using the licensed software, and apart from the legal obligation to use licensed software, it comes with the outright support no found in pirated software. When we talk about licensing or licensed software, the two things comes in our mind. One is proprietary software and second is free open source software. When we talk about proprietary software, it means the proprietary ownership is a software that is owned by an individual or a company. Usually, then once that is developed, that is the owner of that software. So we can say the proprietary software like all product of Microsoft. So who is the proprietary ownership of the proprietary software? Like a Microsoft company. We can say Apple softwares. Apple company is a proprietary of that softwares. So we can say if we want to purchase any product of Microsoft, so we have to take a license. If we are taking the license of that software, it means कि how many time we can copy it or we can use all the features. But in place of proprietary software, if I am selecting the open source, it means this is free of cost. It is directly available. There is no need to purchase the license. We can directly install that software from the original website. So it means proprietary exclusive right in the softwares are retained with the owner, developer or publisher. On the other hand, open source softwares refer to a software that users can safely run, adopt, redistribute without legal constraint, and which emphasize for the freedom, and they can use copy it so many times. This is known as open source software. Okay, so now thank you so much beta. Bye bye.